our next presenter to the mic. His name is Fabrice Armand, and he's our special speaker for the evening. So welcome him, please, ladies and gentlemen.
How's everybody doing tonight? All right, much better. It is truly an honor and pleasure for me to be here with you to speak to you. But before I get started, usually when I do speaking engagements, I usually like to start with a little, how can I say this, a little routine. So I would like everybody to look to their left. Everybody look to your right. And say, neighbor, neighbor, you look good tonight. Let's try that one more time. Look to your left and look to your right and say, neighbor, neighbor, you look good tonight. All right, once that we've got that taken out of the way, the first thing that I would like to say is that originally when Judith reached out to me and asked me if I could have your attention real quick, it will be really brief. Originally when Judith reached out to me and asked me to come on board as a sponsor, little did I know that it was the first of many other requests that would lead me to speaking to you tonight. So, and being the visionary that she is, she had already picked out my topic for my speech, Black empowerment. and when you think about that, it's very interesting. But before I delve into what it means, what Black empowerment stands for, we really need to think about the word to empower. When thinking about to empower, the Webster's Dictionary has described it as to give legal authority, to give legal power, to enable, or to help self-actualize. And I think it's really important when we're thinking about Black empowerment to really think about how that movement has come about. Black empowerment has changed over time and it continues to evolve. One of the things that we think about is that in the 50s and 60s, that movement really talked about more of a social empowerment, more of a political empowerment of our people. And the reason for that is that although we actually had the right to vote from the 15th Amendment, but that legal authority was never given to us until the civil rights movement. So that's really interesting in regards to that. But when you're thinking about the movement and to empower, we all know that our leaders at that time knew that in order for us to empower our individuals in our community, we needed not only to have the idea from the mind, but the conviction of our will to stand up for what we really believed in. Because they knew that it wasn't going to be easy. And sometimes you have to witness hopelessness to feel empowered. The great Václav Havel, he was a Czech leader, he once said that when we were dealing with oppression in Eastern Europe, one of the biggest issues for us is that we thought that we needed many things. But mostly what we needed was hope, an inspiration of the mind, the willingness to sometimes see hopelessness and be a witness. Because that hopelessness that we see sometimes fuels our empowered and it makes us feel empowered. And I'm going to tell you a little story about me and how I became empowered. My empowerment came from seeing hopelessness in my own country. I remember it vividly as though it was yesterday. It was September 27, 2004. I was a senior in college at St. John's University, and a major hurricane had hit Gonaïves, which is a small town in the north of Haiti. And I remember watching it. By the second day, 3,000 people had died, 300,000 people had lost their lives. Mudslide and the floods had created such a chaos within the country. And I remember sitting in front of the television and thinking that I'm hopeless, that I don't have the ability to actually make a difference. Fast forward 3 months later, December 2004, a major tsunami hit Southeast Asia. But the response was completely different. You have you had all the celebrities galvanizing behind them. They raised about billions of dollars for the cause. And although the numbers were about the same, there were 5,000 dead in Thailand and hundreds of thousands that lost their lives. And I remember at that particular moment, I said, never again will I think that I am hopeless and helpless when it comes to my people. Because sometimes what we need is just to be able to have an idea and to stand up and try to make that difference. And when I'm talking to you tonight, one of the things the reason why I tell you this story is that for you to understand that sometimes it's necessary to just witness that hopelessness. And one of the things that I want to talk to you about and that fits in particular with Blackstreet and Beverly Bond and all the works that we're talking about, is the empowerment movement. We are actually living in a world where we have our educational system is failing our kids. And it's unfortunate, but it's something that we really need to think about. I'll give you some statistics. 13% of African American fourth graders have reached proficient or advanced reading skill levels, while 61% have yet to reach the basic level. Many black 17-year-old students graduating from high school have the math skills of white 8th graders. According to the most recent statistic, college graduation rate for enrolled black students is only 40%, compared to 60% of their white counterparts. And I'm telling you this right here, it's not to really be gloom or anything of that sort. It doesn't take a PhD in education, a PhD in the social arts to understand that we are failing these kids. But there is hope, and that is what we really need to think about. Because the hope that it is that one of my favorite authors and leaders is Robert Kennedy. And Robert Kennedy said that the future does not belong to those who are fearful of bold projects and new ideas. Whether it belongs to those that can blend passion, courage, and reason in a personal commitment to bring about change. And I'm telling you this right now because we have to seriously be bold in the way that we think about our youth. We have to be bold in the ways that we mentor them. So whether the educational system is ailing and is not doing their job, whether they're living in communities where they don't feel that there is hope, we have to provide that spark and that hope for them. And I think that when I say that, and it could be something as simple as really showing them that there are people that look like them that are achieving. There are people like Beverly Bond, Midoyan Charles, Phil Andrews, Chastity Saunders, Lance Drummond, that they can actually become whatever that they really wish to become. And that's part of it as well. The last part that I would like to talk about is just the empowerment of what we felt within the past 4 years and just how we've been empowered lately. We've all had been empowered by Barack Obama and his march and saying, yes, we can. It's funny because when he said that affirmation actually became a confirmation of what we can accomplish. And it doesn't mean that we're black or white or different colors. It's just saying that, yes, we can be that difference. And the other thing that I was talking to a close friend of mine who's a news anchor at Atlanta, and the Trayvon Martin incident. We as black folks, we galvanized to make sure that justice was being served. And you know what? And that's only just the surface level of what we can accomplish as individuals. The last thing that I would like to leave you with is that when you're thinking about this is that in order for you to accomplish the impossible, just start working on the possible. Thank you very much.
Give it up one time for Fabrice. That was amazing. What a wonderful way to kick it off. He did an amazing job. Now, how many folks out there